2025 marks the 50th anniversary of Guam's first ever gold medal in the South Pacific Games, won in men's basketball with the games hosted locally. After a half decade, the team remains close and is the driving force for excellence for other sports to this day. Let's now pay tribute to our Golden Boys on their golden anniversary and look back at that magical summer of '75.
The 1975 Team Guam men's basketball team, the very first team to win gold in the South Pacific Games, set the template, made history, and really set the pace for young athletes like myself growing up on Guam. We have here 4 members of that historic team, and their character and their sense of humor and just their amazing athletic achievements continue today. We have Kin Farron, Benny Lazama, Joe Taitano, and Greg Tekenko. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. For me, this is a real honor. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we
Appreciate it.
Okay, Joe, let's start with you. What is the camaraderie between all the members of the team? I mean, we've got 4 of you in the gym right now, the very same gym where you won the gold medal match, but how have you guys stayed close?
I mean, believe it or not, even after 50 years, I mean, just being around these guys and just try to talk about it, it's emotional with me. After all these years, but that's how close we were back then. I mean, we ate the same food. We stayed in that little room up there, okay, and we just enjoyed one another's company, and the only thing in mind was just to work hard and play good basketball for Guam. That's basically it. I think that was the thing that kept us together. So it was definitely a brotherhood, if you will, because Webb Smith, I think, is partly to be credited for that because he was the one that got us together.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, now Benny, if I may, then I've talked to several members of the team and several people related to the team, and they all say you were one of the emotional leaders. And emotion is kind of the key word because right now we're in this wonderful gym. It's got the GW colors. There's wonderful air conditioning. There's lighting and everything. That was not the case back in 1975. No. This was a completely different facility. Describe the conditions that you guys played under.
Well, yeah, there was no AC here. There was no AC at all. We live in a room up there with cots. That room didn't have an AC either. But we were all together, real tight-knit family, like Joe said. We were not just players in a team. We became more band of brothers, really. And it was really crowded in this place in '75. The final game, people were hanging out outside the windows. They were lining up. We didn't even have room to play. They were right up on the line on the baseline on the sideline and all the way back. But it was an amazing time for us. Yeah, we wrapped that gold medal around our neck, but our mission was for Guam.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of those gold medals is around the neck of Greg Tekenko right now. So, Greg, what was it like to actually put Coach Webb on your shoulders and carry him and have that victory celebration when every member of our team, you said, we did what we set out to do and we did it in front of our family, in front of our friends, and right here on Guam soil?
Yes, our coach is very good. He trained us.
Good. Take the mic, please.
The coach is very good, Coach Webb Smith. He trained us, and we run all what he wants. The less dribbling, the better. And I'm an outside shooter, and I play with these guys. We got a good teamwork. Mm-hmm. We run.
And I just saw you guys when you walked in the gym here. You guys are still making jokes,
yes.
Embracing each other and everything. So what has been the relationship with you and the other members of this team as you run into them over the years, or just like kept in touch?
Yes, we're like Tony Susuico, those guys, Jam Kawu, and Jesse Benaventi. But we miss Ray Flores, passed away, and Joe Connolly, and Jeff Denied, and Manny Villavicencio, and Luke Kohen, and all we have here is like 7 of us here in Guam. So I think Jam is somewhere, probably off island, I believe. But Jesse, I met him once, but I didn't.
All right. Now, if I can ask Kin now. Yeah. From what I read, I was 1 year old in 1975. I was a little kid running around in Pampers.
Feel
in
old now.
Well, not at all. But what was unique also about that summer was apparently, I mean, that's in the middle of the rainy season for Guam anyway. Apparently, that June was uncommonly rainy. So what were the conditions that you had to work out in, practice, come to the games?
Yeah, like I said, I know air conditioning, and from the time we came out of that room, we were running all the time. Webb kept us busy, right? And I give Webb credit for keeping the team together. The idea of having us all housed in that little room up there brought us together a lot quicker than it would have if, because we practiced for a month and a half before the game. It wasn't, yeah, but having to live together and eat together, it's almost like being in college, right? You're sharing the dorms and all this stuff, and when we wake up, the first thing we think is basketball. The last thing we think about is basketball. So I give credit to Webb for a lot of that. And then, like I said, we're a band of brothers, right? We have our own WhatsApp where we keep in touch with each other, and we tell stories and stuff like that, or we follow Terry Stotts, whatever. But mainly, the guys have just come together really well, and we gelled really well because, like Ben said, we're a band of brothers. We had one mission, and that was gold medal. There's nothing else we were playing for.
Well, mission accomplished.
Yes, and so when we got that done, right, and with a leader like Joe and Tony, I mean, we were just following those two guys.
Mm. Well, let me ask Joe now, because you became a legend not just because of your play on the court, but also as you were coaching for decades. I mean, when I was in high school, you were still coaching. What is the legacy of the '75 team with the younger players and the national team that has been so successful now, winning golds and silvers in the Pacific Games? But you guys really set the tone for them. And what's your legacy?
I think one of the biggest thing, and when you ask about the weather, right? Honestly, that wasn't even in our minds at all. It was just all about working hard and playing hard-nosed basketball. I mean, if kids nowadays went through what we did in '75, they wouldn't survive, to be quite honest. I mean, what Webb Smith did to us, it was just, I mean, I look back every now and then, and man, had us wearing weights on our ankles, pressing against the second team. And every time they break the press, he had us running steps or touchdowns.
So it sounds more like boot camp than training camp.
Well, yeah, I mean, basically that's what it was. And that's why we didn't fear anything. I mean, you talk about weather. I don't even remember the weather at all. That didn't even came to mind at all, because we were just so focused in terms of what needed to be done on the floor. So work ethic is such a big thing. If there's anything that I learned a lot from that team and from Webb Smith, it's just working hard. And you know what they say, that hard work pays off, and sure enough with Webb Smith, he was a living proof of that, that hard work does pay off.
Benny, how does it feel a half century later? You guys, relatively speaking, were kids back then. You guys were young men. Some of you were married at that time. Ken, you were a newlywed at that time.
Ken was
how does it feel now with, like 50 years of history having passed and to see these guys now and to reflect on what you've done?
I feel pretty old. Anyway, I don't know. For me, we're not just players. We became really practically brothers. And going back to practice, what Joe was saying, in '71, and there was 5 of us originally.
Yeah.
It was Joe, Greg, Tony, myself, and Ray Flores, bless his soul. And I remember preparing for '75, Webb said he was going to scout the top players in high school. It's one of them. They were babies.
Mm-hmm.
So he put that chemistry together. He wanted to bring in the younger stars and mix in with the more seasonal players. And that really worked out. And like Joe said, we practiced really hard. There was no weights. We run. I think for the first month and a half, he had us running from JFK, Ipao Road, up back to JFK, until we actually step on the court. But I think his idea was to get us hungry first. Then when we got on the court, there's 12 players never complain about PT, playing time. They'll sit and they'll wait. And he matched everybody. If Joe has to rest, Champ Cowell steps in. If I had to rest, Jesse Midventi step. It's like the NBA.
So
You match up.
very selfless
You
players.
match up. You match up with somebody's strength.
Next man up.
Position. Yeah. So the 12 players we had really never complain on anything about playing time. If they take you out, they take you out. Somebody steps in. And Webb really kept us together. I mean, I think his plan was to get the young players, house us up there. He kept an eye on us. We never left the compound. Never left the compound. Unless you really need to. But you know, they're giving you a certain time to get back.
Mhm.
And
You know, an indicative of the hard work that we put in, right? I mean, if you look at the scores, and I did my research, by the way. So, like against New Caledonia, which is it's the game that took us to the finals. I mean, we scored 101 points, and they scored 62. You know, against our neighbor, and I know there's nothing really to brag about. Only beat Saipan. I mean, that's our neighbor, but we scored like 101. Believe it or not, the same score, and they scored 48. You know, and then of course, American Samoa in the finals, we beat them 87 to 73. So, I mean, it really that's indicative of just how hard we worked. You know, in '75.
Coach got you guys ready.
Oh man, super ready. I mean, we were more than ready, and I think also, you know, I want to give credit to Coach Frank Stotts, because before the SPG games, he took us to Asia. 2 years in a row, he took us to Asia, Philippines, Taiwan, Japan, Korea, you know, Okinawa, and he had us playing against collegiate teams. So that kind of helped us out. Okay, but Webb Smith, I mean, he made us work hard, and I'll never
And that
forget
is an actual practice that a lot of coaches right now, from high school all the way up to national team, they do that all the time.
Yeah.
High school teams, they go to the Philippines, they go to, you know, they go to Indonesia, and they play all the time because they realize that, like, playing off island, there are benefits of that. Not everybody plays basketball the same way that we play, like, you know, on Guam. The last question for Ken is, how has the experience and being our first gold medalists, you know, again, you guys were young men back then, how did that change the trajectory of your life, change your character, and, you know, and shape the man that you became as a Guamanian?
Well, you know, just being able to put all that work together, right, and seeing work hard, play hard kind of thing, right, that Webb taught us. That's the way I live, right? I work hard and I play hard, and it's got me to where I'm at, right? I joined the Air Force right after we won. A year after we won the medal, we won the University of Guam basketball for the varsity league that same year, right? But all those things, playing sports and stuff like that, and that the coach instilled on us is just that discipline, right? To be able to take commands and just execute. And that's the thing that got us to where we were. We got the command from Webb, and we just executed the plan.
You know, 75 is a defining moment for me. I mean, it was the stage that set my career, because someone took interest in the way I played basketball, and the following year I went and played for Adams State. So and then that's where everything started for me with regards to career and you know, I guess stepping up the level of basketball, playing basketball. So it definitely is a special moment for me, and I'm just thankful, you know, for the people that were here. I mean, if you had seen GW back then in terms of where people, I mean, they were hanging hands. I mean, they were up there in the, you know, the louvers. I mean, it was just standing. I mean, it was even hard to take the ball and bound from the sideline, because there were people standing in between the black and the red line. So it was definitely a moment that I'll never forget. And yeah, always going back to that moment.
Well, gentlemen, certainly it's the achievement of a lifetime for you and all your teammates and the coaching staff and everything. And this has been an honor of a lifetime for me, again, as a young guy that's been able to really appreciate what you guys did for myself and my peers and everything. So congratulations to you on this 50th anniversary of your gold medal.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for having us here. Appreciate it.
We're now here in Upper Tumon at John F. Kennedy High School, the newly rebuilt JFK, but this place and this campus did not look like this in 1975, and certainly The gym did not look like this, but this is the very ground where our 75 men's basketball team held their tryouts and worked on their game, developed their chemistry, spent a lot of time here. The talents that would propel them to the gold medal game, and the youngest member of that team was a 19-year-old, affectionately called Champ. Okay, Champ, so first thing I gotta say is congratulations, 50 years.
And we're still alive?
Yeah.
Okay.
And do you reflect on the fact that your team, as young as you were, as ambitious as you all were, as much passion as you had for representing Guam on your home soil at that time, that was a half century ago. I mean, you were back from your freshman year in college. Your eldest daughter wasn't even a full year yet, and yeah, that was a half century ago.
It was a long time ago, for sure. As time passes on, you think about your life and all that you've done, and it really is a highlight. I was really young at the time, and the relationships you form and those experiences, are important when you look back and try to reflect on, how the last 50 years have gone, how the last 60 years have gone, and clearly that summer was a highlight, and more importantly, it helped establish relationships that continue to this day. I mean, some of the treasured relationships and the memories, are tied to that team and that summer.
Which is also interesting because in your own family, you're the oldest boy, and yet on that team, you were the baby.
Yeah,
you were the youngest on the roster.
I have to say, I was really lucky to get on the team. I had been away at college, and I had gone back, and it wasn't a goal or anything, but I loved basketball. And when I got back to Guam, I heard that they were still holding tryouts. The tryouts were still open, and so I was encouraged to go out to try out for the team, and I did. I think the day after I got back from California, I went up, and I think the practices were at JFK. The tryouts were at JFK, and so I was anxious and a little bit apprehensive. I didn't think I was going to make the team. I was the youngest, and they were really great players. But I was fortunate that Coach Webb had selected me, and it was a great experience, and really glad that it occurred.
How well did all of you on the roster? How well did you guys all know each other, either from like village leagues or just like you knew them from high school or?
Oh yeah, I've been playing basketball since I was in middle school, early middle school, maybe even elementary school. And Guam was small back then, and the basketball community wasn't as large either. And so I grew up playing with a lot of the younger guys. And at some point, I think I played against some of them in the All-District League. And then later, we played varsity league together. Joe Tithano I knew because Joe would run down from Jigo and have pickup games at Tamuning Court or wherever he could catch a game. And
he probably literally did run down.
He literally did run down, and Joe was always an amazing athlete. Always sort of wondered how he found the energy and the dedication to do what he did. But all these guys, some of them were friends, some of them were contemporaries, but a lot of them were sort of heroes to me, and it was great to get to know them. And we knew them in a really close environment because we all had to live together during the SPG games, and we all bunked up at GW, and there's a loft that overlooks the court, and so that's where we'd all have our futons or our cots, and we'd practice all day and hang out in the gym, and then we'd sleep at night in the loft. It was a great experience.
Now, once the team was formed, was it the players who elected Tony as captain, or did he just kind of like slide into that role because he also had experience in previous SPGs?
Yeah. Well, let me just say this: this was clearly Tony's team. Tony was our Michael Jordan. He was our Magic Johnson or our Larry Bird. This team was clearly Tony's team. He was the leader because he was the best player. Everyone looked to Tony, and he was a leader by example. He didn't do a lot of talking, but he led by his dedication and just his talent. And you had experienced players. We looked at Benny Lazama, who was a great player from Sinahanya, and he was a leader in his own right with respect to the team. He was a great court general. Then you had Joe. Joe would drive everybody because Joe worked harder than anybody and demanded that you also work hard. So he kept the fitness standard and the intensity standard pretty high. But it was clearly Tony's team. He was the leader of the team, and I think everyone will say that we look to him as the team captain. Right.
So take me back to the gold medal game and everything. Like, American Samoa was actually heavily favored in the tournament, but you're playing on your own home soil, and you said, we're in front of our friends and family, girlfriends, wives, and everything like that. Like, what was the attitude of the team, and what was the mindset?
Well, the team, some of the players had gone to South Pacific Games before. I had never participated in an international competition or in the South Pacific Games. And I think there was a feeling among the veterans on the team that this team could beat American Samoa. And so American Samoa was loaded. Back then they had players who were Samoan but were living in Hawaii or in the mainland, and they had gathered together, and it was really a sort of a stacked team. And when we saw them at the first game, we played them twice. And the first game, I don't think it was that close. We beat them pretty easily, and it built up our confidence. And then the second game we played, I think we eventually beat them by a pretty by a pretty good margin. And they were bigger than we are, and they had some really great players. In fact, when I ended up after law school working in Hawaii, I'd run into some of them at the gym, at Clum Gym on the weekends. We'd have pickup ball, and they really remembered that Guam had beaten them, and they'd give me a hard time or they'd tease me about it. But it was really a great experience, and something I'd never experienced before. But we had the finals at the GW gym, and all I remember is that people were on the roof outside the gym looking in from the louvers. It was clearly a fire hazard and very dangerous, but there was such a demand to watch this game. And I think that not only were we sort of proud to represent the island and to be successful, but I think the island was really proud that we had finally beat, really a Goliath, right? They were a lot bigger than we were. They were not only players from Samoa, but Samoans from Hawaii. And it was really a satisfying win that I really will never forget and always sort of treasure. I was, to a certain extent, happy. It was a game to me, but I think that the older players that had actually gone to the South Pacific Games before and had lost really savored it and enjoyed it more. And so it was a little bit of a blur, but it was all new to me, and it was really a satisfying win. And as time has passed, it's something that I've learned to appreciate even more.
What do you as players, and again, 50 years later, what do you personally hold very close to your heart about the character of that team and the personality? And how you represented, like your homeland?
I think representing Guam was important, but to me, it was really about the team to a large extent. And as I said earlier, I joined the team late, and I was observing the camaraderie and the dedication and the drive of some of the older players, who really, I didn't appreciate what it meant because I had not played in the South Pacific Games before, and I had not represented Guam before. But to them, it was important more than just winning a game, and I felt that it was palpable, that sort of sense that this is important. And while I may have not appreciated how important it was at the time, I felt that it was important to the team and to the team leaders, which were really Tony and Benny and Joe, and some of the other guys. Like there was Greg Taekwenko, who became a great friend of mine, and I see Greg all the time, and we talk about '75 and the time we spent together. And Luke Kohen, was my age. He played for GW, and Kin, and we all. But I think we were riding the wave of satisfaction and pride.
How often do you all get together, like the entire team?
Everyone gets busy, and it seemed like we didn't do it for a long time. But over the last 10 years, we've gotten together, I'd say maybe once or twice a year for dinner, just to talk about old times. And then we have mini gatherings. It's always a great time, and it's always a warm feeling to get together with our old brothers and talk about old times. And of course, you know, we've all gotten better with age, right? As time passes, all my, you know, my FD brothers who play basketball, or my nephew EJ, who was the Guam basketball coach.
Endless ribbing.
I used to tell him, you know, what are you going to get a gold medal? You know, you're really successful, and you've gotten a lot of Micronesian game medals, gold medals. I said, you know, but you need like 25 of those to equal one gold medal in the from the South Pacific Games. Then finally, Guam has won a gold medal in the South Pacific Games, and he was instrumental in bringing the team back. But he got it as a coach, not as a player.
Well, it's been a pleasure just covering you and reliving some of these memories, and happy golden anniversary, champ.
Oh, thank you, appreciate it.
Any team needs a leader. And by all accounts from those that shared the court with him, Tony Susuico was far and away Team Guam's best player and the heart and soul of our history-making run. Seve Susuico, an accomplished player in his own right, grew up knowing Tony's greatness, but also the character that led to our golden run in 1975. Let's hear now from a grateful son honoring not only a legendary sports figure, but a humble dad.
Seb, you actually have more medals than your dad, right?
Yeah, well, more silver medals. So we have the same amount of gold medals. So he has 2 gold medals, I have 2 gold medals, and I have 3 silver medals. So.
And there's an important distinction to make, because your dad actually played in the SPG before the 75 games, and then after. And so, like, everybody always says, like, you know, it was his team, you know, he led, we followed.
Yeah, no, so my dad, he always recalls that 75 team, the first gold here on Guam. I mean, nothing means more than winning, you know, at home, in home court. So he always reflects that every time we sit down and talk. He, you know, gives me goosebumps, and that's what kind of motivated me in my basketball career to, you know, kind of meet that pedestal and kind of make it go further, which Guam basketball has gone. I mean, thanks to those guys, that 75 team that, you know, those are like the roots of Guam basketball, and we kind of, now we're flourishing and where the program is.
And Dad actually turned 75 this year, right?
Yeah, so it was just his birthday yesterday. He turned 75, still strong. That was the 75 team that won. It's a 50-year anniversary, you know, so it's funny how things are, like, you know, they come in full circle.
How often does he bring it up, and how often does he, like, share those memories with you, and what specific stories does he tell?
Yeah, you know, my dad's a humble guy from down south, so he doesn't bring it up a lot. The only time he goes off on it is if you ask him a question, then he'll go on and on and on, but rightfully so, because those times are, you know, those are the good times for Guam. In the 70s, the sports in the 70s for Guam was, you know, it was a beautiful time.
Mm-hmm. What about your own game has been shaped by, you know, I mean, genetics is one thing, and, you know, and talent and an interest in the game, and, you know, he maybe took you to go play and, you know, dragged you along and everything like that. But what about, you know, his game just translated down to yours, and you just get it from him?
Yeah, I think, you know, just being surrounded by a great player, and then hearing stories from other people tell you about how great your dad was, puts a little bit of pressure on you, enough to make you want to play and be great, you know, just like your dad. And I'll put the same pressure on my son, Theo, so.
Now, if you're given a nickname by your peers, that's the best.
Yeah.
How did your dad get the nickname Helicopter?
They gave him the nickname the Helicopter because he would jump up and he would just hang. People would be landing and he'll still be in the air, you know? So he had the vertical leap, and he also had hang time. So he could jump high and jump far. So people just remember him, you know, just for his jumping ability, his shooting ability. You know, he's an awesome athlete, and you know, at that time, dunking basketballs on Guam, there wasn't very many people doing it, and to have, you know, a guy from down south doing it, and, you know, it doesn't get any better.
Now, what does this court mean to him? Because, you know, like, especially like Southern basketball got such a rich tradition on Guam, but, you know, playing here, and back then, you know, we didn't have the advanced facilities we have right now. You know, most courts didn't even have aircon or even a cover and everything. So what about this, you know, to you as his son, is hallowed ground?
You know, I think this place down here in Agate, this is where all the hard work happens. This is the roots. If you're willing to come out here in the rain and play and train, you know, you love the game, and the more you love the game, the better you're going to be at it.
Mm-hmm. And your dad always tells like a famous story about the fact that you were almost like pressured into becoming a very, very accurate shooter, because if your ball went a little bit beyond here and everything like that, there's a river like right behind you.
Just behind me. So he used to say, if you're shooting on this side and you miss and the ball bounces into the river there, that ball's going far. So there's pressure on making those baskets.
Uh-huh. How much does the gold medal, and how much his place in history, and, you know, like the fact that his teammates are still so close and everything, to this day, Sev, how much does that mean to him?
You know, those are his brothers. Just like I have my brothers for my team, those guys they're brothers, you know.
For us as athletes, you know, you always say we have a love of competition and we play to win, but they went out and they were the first ones and they proved that we could do it too.
Yeah, they did it. You know, they were local boys, all guys from Guam, local boys that just were playing guys that were playing college and playing pro overseas, and then they meet up with these guys, and you know, they held their ground and they beat them, you know, and they got that gold, and it's gonna live on forever.
Mm-hmm. What do other people, not just from the South, but all over Guam, tell you about, you know, what their dad meant to them? Or it's like, hey, I didn't play, but I cheered on your dad, and you know, like I saw your dad around, and you know, he was a hero to us.
I mean, he was like the pride of Agate at that time. So, damn.
Do people just come up to you and like share stories, or you know, like relatives or like people from the village?
Yeah. Hold on.
Sorry, take your time, brother. Like when they approach you and they come up to you and they say, you know, I know your dad. What did they say?
Yeah. They just say how great he was, you know, and how they remember him. They just say, you know, he inspired a lot of people, just to be better people, not just better players.
He made them proud to be from Guam, right?
Yeah.
He represented us the way that all athletes would hope that you can represent our island that we love so much.
Exactly. Yeah. Damn.
Where's his gold medal at, Seth? And growing up and everything like that, was it displayed, and did you see it, or did he allow you to touch it to pick it up?
You know, he was a humble guy. He never displayed anything. He was in a box in a drawer, you know. So he wasn't about all the awards and all that. He just loved the game and he wanted to win.
How often do his teammates reach out to you and just say like this is what Dad means to us?
All the time. You know, I get texts from Champ. A lot of the younger guys at the time. My dad was kind of like a veteran guy. You know, he inspired them. He inspired me. Inspired a lot of people.
And how about your own? You know, you're a father now. How do you as a son want to carry on his athletic tradition, and then, you know, pass that down to Theo and pass that down to your boy and say, you know, this is the way Grandpa did it, so, you know, this is the way we're going to do it because he did it right? Yeah,
same thing. I mean, I have passion for the game. It wasn't forced at all. You know, I don't want to force it on him either. I'm going to surround him with the game. And if he wants to play, he's going to play. I wanted to play. My dad wanted to play, so hopefully he wants to play too.
In one sentence, what does the 75 team mean to Dad?
Inspiration for Guam athletes, not just basketball, for every sport. You know, like local kids can do it. They, you know, other places have support, financial support and all that. These guys barely had shoes on their feet, but they went out and played and they won. So.
You never made excuses, man. No one's ever gonna outwork us.
Nope. Yeah, exactly. That was their whole motto. If we're gonna lose in shape. And those guys were in shape, you know, so they had no excuse. And they were just, you know, those are the guys we look up to and we'll look up to forever.
We're very proud, myself and Frank Cruz, to announce the first ever Guam National Basketball Hall of Fame. 2 players that will be inducted this year are Joe Taitano and Tony Susuico, who are legends of the game here on Guam, and 2 players that I grew up hearing so much about. And we know that they helped lead those teams, and I'm sure they're big contributions all around, but they were leaders on those teams. That is our inaugural class of 6 inductees, and we're very proud of them, and we're proud to share their story. And we feel like the hard work that they provided will inspire future generations, because we know it inspired us. And we are inducting you into the first ever Guam National Basketball Hall of Fame, class of 2025. As one of our inspirational basketball players of all time in Guam.
Wow. Yeah, easy.
So take a look at this. Oh, thank you for all you've done to inspire all the basketball players on Guam and everyone who represents Guam.
All I did was just play and just follow the playing rules, you know.
I'll never forget, you came to the airport with your gold medal, and you came right up to me and said, EJ, go get one of these. He said, go get a gold medal. And that's the standard you set, is regardless whether we win or not, in our mind, we deserve the gold medal. We want to go for the best.
It, like us in 75, you know, there were guys that just couldn't believe it.
So we're going to end telling the story of the 1975 Guam men's basketball team, fittingly here where everything started, at GW's gym, where a dream was realized, a vision was completed, and a legacy was formed. We hope you enjoyed this look back, and we hope you appreciate everything that the 75 team did for our sports community.